Here we go. As a kid, we'd go on down to the ice cream store in town. After schools and Sundays, we'd all just hang around. Root beer floats and Sundays, and cherry jubilee. For a kid, there was no better place you'd ever want to be. There behind the counter, working out on the floor, was the ice cream man and the waitress. Sign said open on the door. Two, they weren't much for talking. The mysteries they abound about who they were and where they're from and what brought them to our town. Did he fly across the ocean? Had she danced across the stage? Some said they were fugitives from a dark and distant age. One thing was for certain, can see it in their eyes. They loved each other dearly, they'd do so till they died. We'd head on home with the street lights. We knew we had to run. We'd be back tomorrow after school was done. Closing time was 10 o'clock. They'd lock up and walk home. Where you saw one, you saw them both, never one alone. They smiled to those who passed them by, then slowly they'd walk on, arm in arm together, back again at dawn. Did she grow up in the circus? Some had heard he'd been a spy, insisting they were on the run from the FBI. One thing was for certain, you could see it in their eyes. They loved each other dearly, they'd do so till they years went on and I moved away, and I returned to you nowhere. I went on down to the ice cream shop to see if anyone was there. Oh, the lights were out, the door was locked, and dust lay upon the floor. There was no mistaking that no one had worked there anymore. Folks said she had died, and he tried to make it go alone. Things, they just never were the same, so we followed her on home. Now I guess they're still together, wherever that may be, arm in arm, still shrouded in their mystery. Now I suppose we could have asked them, they'd probably told us true, but hell, guessing was just half the fun. What else was there to do? Upon the silver screen, and I think he'd been a pirate, sailed the ocean green. One thing was for certain, you could see it in their eyes. They loved each other dearly, and they did so till they died. Like lovers through the ages, just living on a bed. The ice cream man and the waitress, Romeo and Juliet. Like lovers through the ages, just living on a bed. The ice cream man and the waitress, Romeo and Juliet. Thanks. Sitting here waiting in Talbot County Jail, and I'm hoping she's not so mad that she doesn't even pay my bail. If I was her, I'm not so sure, wouldn't keep on moving down the trail. I'm sitting here waiting in Talbot County Jail. Let me tell you a little bit about the story here. I had the wonderful opportunity for several years to go to the NASCAR track down in Kentucky, about 5.5 hours from here. It was a good time. I loved it every time I went. This last time we went was right before COVID. My friend John got a wonderful brand new Silver Explorer down at North Brothers Ford. We traded in a blue Equinox, something like that. We loaded up, made the trip in the beautiful brand new vehicle, loved the new car smell. Went down, enjoyed a weekend in NASCAR, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, Sunday morning rolled around. It's time to make the trip back home. Had a long weekend of partying, kind of feeling hung down, brung down. So we were eager to get back home. And we'd seen cars going 200 miles per hour. I was driving and figured I'd make good time. I had the wonderful opportunity to drive a NASCAR 3 times. 141.5 was the fastest I ever went, so I'm not afraid of speed. It was in Ohio on I-75 when all of a sudden my buddy John heard me say, "Ah, damn it." He said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Radar." So John said, "Why is it we're suddenly going faster?" I said, "Well, I think we'll outrun them." So I put the pedal to the metal and on I went. And I think I would have outrun them if it wasn't for the construction zone. We wound up going down to 1 lane. Things started looking really bad really fast. So I whipped off on the side of the road trying to lose that policeman who was trying to catch up with me. Whipped into the Meyer gas station, jumped out of the car real quick. And he said, the policeman caught up. He said, "Where do you think you're going?" I said, "Oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. Got to go real bad." He said, "Well, you go to the bathroom while I write you your tickets." He didn't have a very good sense of humor at all about anything that was going on. I came out from going to the bathroom, and he said, "Got a question for you." He said, "Why is this vehicle registered as a blue Equinox and you're driving a Silver Explorer?" And I said, "Well, let me explain." He didn't have a good sense of humor about nothing that was going on. Of course, I thanked him for being a good, dutiful officer and doing his job, and apologized for doing things that just ain't right. Promised I'd never be speeding on the turnpike in Ohio again. Get one phone call, 2 Tylenol, 4 cold gray walls closing in. If I ever get out on that highway again, ain't ever going back to Talbot County. No, ain't ever going back to Talbot County. Got a lump on my head and a boot print on my chest. With the guys in here they call the Talbot County lie detector test. Well, I did my best, but you might have guessed it's a pretty tough test not to fail. I'm sitting here waiting in Talbot County Jail. Get one phone call, 2 Tylenol, 4 cold gray walls closed. closing in. If I ever get out on that highway again, ain't ever going back to Talladega County. No, ain't ever going back to Talladega County. It all started when I had a little trouble with a guy on the highway crew. That lying son of a bitch told them some things that I didn't even do. Came running for me down the 101, lights are flashing on my tail. I'm sitting there waiting in Talladega County jail. I get one phone call, 2 Tylenol, 4 cold gray walls closing in. If I ever get out on that highway again, I ain't ever going back to Talladega County. No, I ain't ever going back to Talladega County. I'm still sitting here waiting in Talladega County jail, and I'm still hoping she's not so mad that she doesn't even pay my bail. We were coming down on vacation, gonna leave on probation, gonna have to send all my money through the mail. I get one phone call, 2 Tylenol, 4 cold gray walls closing in. If I ever get out on that highway again, I ain't ever going back to Talladega County. No, I ain't ever going back to Talladega County. Once more. I get one phone call, 2 Tylenol, 4 cold gray walls closing in. If I ever get out on that highway again, ain't ever going back to Talladega County. No, ain't ever going back to Talladega County. Thanks. Bob, I'm probably out of time. Okay if I unplug?